And today we're coming at you straight from the 212, the Big Apple, the Empire City. Today we're going over the Manhattan and one of my all-time favorite variations. Now, Manhattan may be the city that never sleeps, but you drink a few of these cocktails and you'll be sleeping like a baby. But as always, make sure you and any of your guests that'll be joining you at your next cocktail party drink responsibly. Because it is the bartender's duty to make sure you don't overserve, and you should take pride in that. The Manhattan is probably one of the most famous, one of the most well-known classic cocktails around. And if you joined us last episode, we went over the distinction between shaken and stirred cocktails. And a quick tip to know whether to shake or to stir your cocktail, which is if there is citrus juice in the cocktail, you shake it. If there's no citrus juice in the cocktail, you usually stir it. Now, there are some exceptions to this rule, but the Manhattan is not one of them. And the Manhattan should always be stirred. So if you walk into a bar and you order a Manhattan and they shake it, smile politely, drink it fast, ask for the check, tip generously, leave, and never go back, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I've seen this. I've had it happen to me. And it's not really the bartender's fault. It's honestly the lack of education the management team has provided. So make sure you stir your Manhattans. Now, let's jump in to the OG Manhattan. So for your build for your Manhattan, 2 ounces of rye, 1 ounce of Sweet Vermouth, and 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. 212, just like the famous area code of the big city. It's stirred, it's served up, and it's garnished with a brandied cherry. And in my opinion, the OG Manhattan should always be made with rye. I like to reserve the bourbon for old fashions. Now, for my personal rye preference, I like to go with a little higher ABV rye, something that'll stand up in the cocktail and be a little more bold. And for sweet vermouths, there are many types out there. 2 of my personal favorites, Coqui Vermouth di Torino and Antico Formula. Both are great. Feel free to experiment with other brands and find what you like best. And for Angostura bitters, Angostura aromatic cocktail bitters are the way to go. You'll see it in pretty much all liquor stores, package stores, grocery stores. Pretty easy to find. All right, so making our Manhattan. There's no citrus, so we always stir it. So let's grab our mixing glass. We're gonna need our jigger. We're also gonna need our bar spoon. All right, we always start from cheapest ingredients to most expensive ingredients. So, Angostura bitters, 2 dashes. We need 1 ounce of our sweet vermouth. That's filled all the way to the brim of the small side of the jigger. And lastly, 2 ounces of rye. That's filled all the way to the brim of the large side of the jigger. Next, we need to ice our mixing glass. And make sure the ice comes above the liquid, because we're looking for proper dilution in our cocktails. And proper dilution is 25%, which means you have 25% water in your cocktail. That's what makes it balanced and smooths it out and gives it that nice round mouthfeel. So we got all our ingredients in the glass. Grab our glassware, grab our bar spoon, and we're gonna stir for 20 seconds. So place the back side of the bar spoon on the inside edge of the glass. Place the bar spoon between your fingers, and you're just gonna stir, keeping the back of that bar spoon on the inside of the glass. Seconds. Grab your hawthorn strainer or your julep strainer. Gonna place it down in the mixing glass. And we're gonna garnish with a brandied cherry. Now, my favorite brandied cherry, I'm not gonna say the brand, but it rhymes with schmuckschmardo. Place it right on top. There you have it, the OG Manhattan. Let's give it a quick taste. Boozy. Very subtle sweetness. You get those little bit of cinnamon notes from the Angostura bitters. Honestly, a tried and true classic. You can't beat it. Or can you? Now, to me, I would say this is what is known as the perfect Manhattan. But if you order a perfect Manhattan in a bar, you're gonna get something a little bit different. So there's a subtle variation on this. And instead of doing 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, you do a 1/2 ounce of sweet vermouth and a 1/2 ounce of dry vermouth, which gives you a cleaner, a little more dry cocktail, not quite as sweet. To some, that's a preference. So I would suggest trying it at home, seeing what the difference is. So the build for the perfect Manhattan is 2 ounces of rye, a 1/2 ounce of sweet vermouth, a 1/2 ounce of dry vermouth, and 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Still stirred, still garnished with a brandied cherry. And as we said, there are many variations of the Manhattan. There's the Rob Roy, which replaces the rye with scotch. There's the Emerald, which replaces the rye with Irish whiskey, and the Angostura bitters with orange bitters. And I like to garnish that with a little lemon or orange twist. There's the Brandy Manhattan, which replaces the rye with brandy, but my all-time favorite variation of the Manhattan is the Black Manhattan. And we're gonna make the Black Manhattan right here. So the build for the Black Manhattan is still 212. It's 2 ounces of rye, and we replaced the 1 ounce of Sweet Vermouth with 1 ounce of Averna Amaro. And still 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, stirred, served up, and garnished with a brandied cherry. Now, to make the Black Manhattan, again, we start with our mixing glass. Let's grab our glassware ahead of time. Again, we're gonna need our jigger, and we're gonna need our bar spoon. So, always starting from cheapest ingredients, most expensive ingredients. Let's get those 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Let's get our 1 ounce of Averna Amaro. It's filled all the way to the brim of the short side of the shaker. And our 2 ounces of rye. Ice our mixing glass. Again, you want the ice to come up over the top of the liquid to make sure we get that perfect 25% dilution. Grab our bar spoon, place it down in there, and we're gonna stir for 20 seconds. Your hawthorn strainer, your julep strainer. Grab your brandied cherry, place it in the drink, and there you have it, the Black Manhattan. Let's taste. Still has that booziness, definitely a little more bitter and chocolatey, more rich notes from the Averna Amaro versus the Sweet Vermouth. Yeah, it's a fabulous, fabulous riff on the Manhattan. Man, I love that riff. Honestly, my all-time favorite. So, for those of you that aren't too familiar with Averna or Amaros, Averna is a type of Amaro. And Amaro is a bitter liqueur that's traditionally made in Italy. Averna is one of my personal favorites. It has a rich, dark, somewhat chocolatey note, definitely bitter. It's great as a digestif. There are many different types of Amaros made from all different family recipes. And it's a really cool culture to learn about and experience and try all the different ones out there because there are so many. And I love Amaro. I think most bartenders do. They're fun to work with. Maybe I'll do an Amaro episode one of these days and we'll go through and do tasting notes on Amaros. I think it could be a lot of fun. So there you have it, guys, the 212, the Manhattan, the city that never sleeps, although I may sleep a little better tonight, and I'm not driving anywhere, so I just may go ahead and finish these. As always, guys, become a regular somewhere. Become a regular at your local watering hole. It's the best way to support local business. Become a regular here at Happiness Bar by liking, commenting, subscribing. Hit that bell if you want notifications. We got cocktail videos coming out every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern to get you ready for the weekend. Stay happy, everyone.